大家好，欢迎来到文美集团美国升学直通车的直播现场。文美集团美国升学直通车是洛杉矶华人资讯网和文美教育集团联合制作播出的北美首档的大型网络直播教育节目。在我们的节目当中，你将会了解到最新最权威的教育资讯，还有升学的建议。在我们的直播过程当中，无论您是学生还是家长，有任何的美国升学教育问题，都可以给我们留言。文美集团是美国著名的大学申请及规划辅导机构，20年规划经验，全网200万加粉丝，关注万博士教育讲座。在美国洛杉矶、纽约、芝加哥等12个城市设有服务中心，为广大华人子女提供教育服务。文美集团专注于美国大学升学规划服务，教育学博士加常春藤名校面试官顾问团队，中美双顾问模式，为6到12年级学生提供最好、最全方位的大学规划服务。微信号文美集团的全拼音，文美的咨询热线1888-789-0942。好，下面进入我们今天的升学大讲堂。
Hi everyone, this is Pierre Rodriguez for WinMei. Today's topic is going to be early action, restrictive early action, early decision, and regular decision,as well as how to implement these things as part of an overall admission strategy. So first I'm going to start by talking about what each of these things are, including the pros and cons. And later on, we're going to talk about how to use these things strategically as part of your application strategy. So the first one I'd like to talk about is early action.Early action is a non-binding application plan that allows students to apply to their preferred colleges early, typically the first part of November, so let's say from November 1st to November 15th. And after that, they tend to receive decisions by mid-December. So because it's non-binding, students are not obligated to attend the institution if they are admitted.They can still apply to other colleges through regular decision and have until May 1st to make their final decision. So in some ways, you get to find out ahead of everybody else if you are going to go, and be accepted to that school. So it's like a preview in some sense. Now, what would be the advantages of early action? So the first one is obvious. It's early notifications. So students receive an early response,which can alleviate the stress of waiting and provide ample time to make informed decisions. The second advantage would be flexibility. Since it's non-binding, students can compare financial aid offers from different institutions. And the third advantage is demonstrated interest. Applying early can demonstrate a student's strong interest in the institution, which might positively influence the admissions decision. So,If you apply early, you're basically letting the school know that you're really interested, and that can help you and your chances of getting in. One disadvantage of early action is, of course, that you have an early deadline. So students need to have their applications, including essays and recommendations, ready much earlier, which can be challenging, of course. However, at WinMei, we stress anticipation,and we work on these things ahead of time, so that shouldn't be an issue if you're part of our admissions consulting programs. The next topic is restrictive early action, so typically abbreviated as REA, as you'll see on the Common App and maybe some other places. So restrictive early action, also known as single choice early action, is a variation of early action,with added limitations. So like early action, it is non-binding, but students are restricted from applying early to other private institutions, though they can still apply to public universities and regular decision plans. So in other words, you have only the possibility of doing it for one school, restrictive early action. Now for the advantages, the first one is early notification. Students receive early admission decisions, so it's similar to early action. The second advantage is demonstrated commitment. So applying restrictive early action shows a serious commitment to the institution, potentially enhancing admissions chances. So it's very similar to early action. However, there are more disadvantages compared to early action. So the first one is limited flexibility. So there are restrictions on applying to other early plans, which can limit the options the student has. And the second one is that there's pressure in the sense that the early deadline requires students to prepare the application sooner. So again, similar to early action. The next topic is early decision, typically abbreviated as ED. So early decision is a binding application plan, meaning that students commit to attending the institution if accepted. The deadlines are similar to those of early action, with applications due in early November and decisions released in mid-December. As for the advantages of early decision, we have the first one is increased admissions chances. So colleges often have higher acceptance rates for early decision applicants as these students demonstrate strong commitment. So basically you're saying when you apply this early decision that you really want to go there, because you can only do early decision for one school. So by using it for a particular school, you're basically letting them know that you have a strong commitment to that school. The second advantage would be early resolution. So students receive an early decision, which can reduce the overall stress of the application process. In terms of disadvantages of early decision, we have the first one being binding commitment, which we talked about. Students must attend the institution if accepted, which limits their ability to compare financial aid packages from other schools. So if you apply to, let's say, a school like Columbia University, and you get in and you apply early decision, you basically have to withdraw all your other applications, and you're basically committed to go there. Early deadlines would be the other disadvantage. So like early action and restrictive early action, the early application deadline requires students to be well prepared ahead of time. And then the last one is regular decision, typically abbreviated as RD. Regular decision is a traditional application plan with deadlines typically in January and admissions decisions released in March or April. It is non-binding, allowing students to apply to multiple institutions and weigh their options before making a final decision by May 1st. The advantages of regular decision include time, so students have more time to complete their applications, which can lead to more thoughtful and polished submissions. The second one is flexibility, so students can apply to a wide range of institutions and compare financial aid offers before making a decision. And the disadvantages would be a longer wait, so students must wait longer on admission decisions, which can prolong the uncertainty and stress of the process. And the second disadvantage would be higher competition. So the applicant pool for regular decision is typically larger, which can make admission more competitive. So this covers the different categories of admission plans. Now we're going to talk about the strategic decision-making involving using these things. So the strategic use of early action would be based on targeting reach schools. So you want to encourage students to use early action for their top choice schools that they are particularly passionate about, but may not be certain of admission. This shows interest and commitment without the binding application of early decision. The second strategic use of early action would be relieve application pressure. So you want to advise students to apply early action to a few schools to potentially secure early acceptances, reducing the overall stress and workload during the peak application season. And then the third strategic element would be to maximize financial aid opportunities. So with early decisions in hand, students have more time to compare financial aid offers and scholarships. Now moving on to restrictive early action. Restrictive early actions, strategic use of it would include using it for top choice schools. So suggest restrictive early action for students with a clear first choice institution where they meet or exceed admission criteria. This demonstrates serious interest and commitment. The second strategic use would be balanced flexibility and strategy. So since restrictive early action is non-binding, students retain flexibility to apply regular decision to other top schools while showing dedication to their restrictive early action choice. And the third strategic use would be ideal for high-achieving students. So restrictive early action is often suited for high-achieving students with strong applications ready by the early deadlines. So if you're on top of your game and you have the credentials to get into a top school, then you should definitely consider using restrictive early action as part of your overall application strategy. Now, for early decision, the strategic use of early decision would include to maximize admission, so encourage students who have a clear first choice school and are competitive applicants to use early decision. Colleges often have higher acceptance rates for early decision applicants. The second strategic use would be demonstrate commitment, so advise students who are certain about their top choice school to apply early decision to showcase their commitment and enthusiasm. And the third strategic element would be early resolution. So this is for students seeking an early resolution to their college process. Early decision can provide a definitive outcome by mid-December. So that's the main benefit, that you get to find out early. And even if you don't get in through early decision, you will get deferred to the regular decision pool unless you get outright rejected. So in other words, you still get like a second chance for the most part if your application is somewhat credible. So that's something to keep in mind. So maybe you can work to improve something by the time the regular decision deadlines come around. So maybe if you have like a like average SAT score, and you might want to take it again one more time to see if you do better. So you can prepare, and then if you do better, that might be able to sway, the application's admissions in your favor. So the last part is regular decision. So the strategic use of regular decision would be a comprehensive application. So you want to guide students to use regular decision for schools that require more time to complete thorough and polished applications. Safety and match schools would be the second strategic use. So you want to recommend applying regular decision to a balanced mix of safety, match, and reach schools to ensure a range of options. And lastly, the strategic use would include financial aid comparisons. So again, applying regular decision allows students to compare financial aid packages from different institutions before making a final decision. And now for the last part, we're going to talk about integrating application plans into a comprehensive strategy. So what are the things that you should be considering? So you want to assess readiness. So begin by evaluating the readiness and the quality of your application materials. So strong applicants with well-prepared essays and recommendations can benefit from early action or early decision. The second component would be to prioritize schools. So students should be identifying their top choice schools and categorize them into reach, match, and safety categories, using early decision for top choice reach schools where the student is competitive, early action for other top choices, and regular decision for a broader range of institutions. The third factor would be balance, risk and reward. So you want to encourage a balanced approach, applying early action or restrictive early action to show commitment while retaining flexibility, and using early decision judiciously for students with clear first choice schools. Note about early action and early decision and things like that. For the most part, what I've seen is that a school will typically have one or the other. They don't typically have early action and early decision. So in some sense, they're almost mutually exclusive based on a lot of the top schools that I've seen on Common App when they've listed the requirements and deadlines. I have yet to see a school that has early decision and early action. So for the most part, you can consider them to be independent things. And then the final element here is financial considerations. So you want to discuss the financial implications of each plan, For students needing to compare financial aid offers, early action and regular decision provide the necessary flexibility, while early decision should be considered only if the financial aid offer is predictable and acceptable. So the idea is that if you apply early decision, it's a little bit more like a shot in the dark because the emphasis is on it being accepted. So once you're accepted, then later on you worry about the financial aid component of everything. Whereas with early action and regular decision, you have more time to compare financial aid offers because you're presented with them before you make your decision. So these are the different things that are part of the application plans. And I hope that you consider using them as part of your application strategy. Thank you.
今天谢谢万博士和皮尔先生的分享，有任何的问题还可以继续给我们留言。感谢您收看我们今天的节目，我们下期见。